Recording in progress.
Hashem's name will be blessed forever and ever. Shalom, everyone. Today, Purim, the laws of Purim, number 4. Today we're going to talk, Be'ezrat Hashem, about reading the Megillah. What is the time we are obligated to read the Megillah? Who is obligated? What do you do if you miss it? Who can read for you? Where is the best place to hear the Megillah reading? So we can start with saying that the time reading of the Megillah is, everyone is obligated to recite the Megillat Esther once during the night of Purim and once during the day. So this year, 2024, we have it on Saturday night, okay? And then we'll have it Sunday morning and the Tefillah. The obligation is 2 times. Some people mistakenly thinks that the best time is during the night and they don't show up in the morning, which is a mistake. You have to listen 2 times to the Megillah reading. Some people also do mistakes. They come in the evening, they're very excited, and they bring the Mishloach Manot, the gift, the 2 different types of food that we're giving. This is also a mistake. Mishloach Manot is only during the day, after Tefillah, after reading the Megillah, then you send the gifts and the manot to each other. That was just a side note. If possible, to fulfill the nighttime reciting at any time during the night until dawn, which is 1.2 sessional hours before sunrise. So earlier the better. Don't wait with the Megillah reading till it's really late, when no one is can focus, you know. What happened if someone could not read the Megillah during the night? What he wants to do, he wants to compensate for it and read during the day 2 times. Question is if he can do that. We know that for Tefillah is something not only you can, you must. For example, if I missed one Tefillah, meaning the Amidah, I should compensate for it and do the Amidah, the second Tefillah, second time the very next day. So the following Tefillah can compensate for the Tefillah I missed. For example, if I missed Shacharit, the morning Tefillah, I can compensate for it for Mincha. After the Amidah, the silent Tefillah, I'm able to, you hear me, okay? You were able to hear me all this time? So, okay, so because I got a message here. Okay, and you missed Shacharit. So for Mincha, I do regular Mincha. I do the 3 steps back, wait for 2 seconds, going forward, and do again Amidah to compensate for Shacharit. If I miss Mincha, I can fix it, I can rectify it and compensate for it on Arvit in the evening. If I miss the evening, when I can compensate for it? The following Tefillah. When is the following Tefillah? And the next morning. Like it's a cycle, like a circle. Fine. Here, this guy missed Tefillah at the night. And he says, tomorrow morning, I'm going to read the Megillah here, and I'm going to go to another place, or I'm going to read the Megillah again, another place. Can he do that? The halacha says, if someone missed reciting Megillat Esther during the night, there is no way to compensate for it during the day. Meaning, you missed it, you snooze, you lose, man. you gotta put it on your schedule. Okay. So during the day is during the whole day, and during the night is permitted through the night. How important is it to listen to the Megillah reading? So we know that the halacha is very strict about it. The halacha says, and our sages taught in the tractate of Megillah, tractate Megillah, page 3a, they say that everyone, including the Kohanim, if they were performing the sacrifices, stop with all their helpers and go to listen to the Megillah reading. If you have a Torah class, you got to stop, time's up, you go to listen to the Megillah reading. Even in the times that everybody is studying Torah, Remember the story with Yoshua and the angel that appeared before him, right, at the time of the war against Jericho and all that, Jericho, right? And Yoshua asked him, are you with us or against us? Halanu ata im letzarenu. And the angel says that they were upset with them, with Yoshua, because they neglected studying Torah. So especially before you go to a war against Jericho, against your enemy, you don't neglect studying Torah. So we see that the angel was sent down to give a message to Yoshua that Torah learning should be at the top of your priorities. But we learn today that even if it's first priority, when Megillah reading times come, you stop and you go to listen to the Megillah. So reading the Megillah, listening to the Megillah, it's important or no?
Yes.
Muy importante. Now, the preferred manner of fulfilling the mitzvah of reciting the Megillah is to recite it together with a large congregation. So if you can choose to go with small or big, you know what to choose. If it's a community that needs you without there will be no minyan, obviously you have to go there and help out. The halacha accepts one to sacrifice one's time for the sake of this precept. Okay? Precept, I'm sorry. Even at the expense of one's Torah study. Okay, let me skip this part because we are already learned that. No, let me just say it, and it's really short. Even if there are 100 men studying in the Beit Midrash, they are expected to go to the large congregation, since God is honored more when a large crowd fulfill His commandments altogether. In fact, even the Kohanim and the Leviim would leave their posts in the Beit HaMikdash and interrupt their offering of the sacrifice in order to go to listen to the Megillah with the congregation. Reciting Megillat Esther in a large congregation is a way of fulfilling the concept of publicizing the miracle. Quotation mark, okay? Any questions? Okay, let's move on. I'm skipping the part discussing about walled cities that they're reading actually the next day. It's got a whole list here in 10 places and why they need to read it in walled city the next day. I don't want to focus on that right now. Who is obligated? Only men? Women as well? Kids? All Jews are obligated to recite Megillat Esther on Purim, including men, women, converts, and former Jewish slaves who have since been freed and now have the status of converts. We are obligated to train children to perform this mitzvah as well. Why they even mention convert? Because some ask a question, who needs to participate? Those that the miracle happens to their forefathers. But this guy just convert is not related to him. Maybe his forefathers were the descendants of Haman. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know that the descendants of Haman, they taught Torah in Bnei Brak. Yeah. So there's no question. As soon as you convert to Judaism, you equal to all the mitzvot, and you have to do all of them. No questions asked. Okay. What about the woman? When the mitzvah is time bound, it's called mitzvat aseh shehazman, hazman grama. It comes because it's related to a time. It's times bound. We know that we should do this mitzvah on a certain time, in the evening and in the morning. So maybe they'll be exempt. Why women also obligated? Second. So our sages taught us in the Megillah, the same tract, the Megillah I mentioned before, page 3a, now it's page 4a. And it says that the women are obligated in the reciting of Megillah, since, quote, they were also involved in that miracle. Yep. How they were involved? Esther. What else? fast and pray too. What else? They were saved as well. Yeah. The enemy planned to annihilate the entire Jewish people. There's no question about it. The halachot gedolot cites the fact that Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi used to gather all the women in his household and he would recite it in their presence. Rabbi Yonah made it a point to recite it for a woman in his household, since both men and women were threatened with annihilation at the time of Haman, and therefore both men and women must listen to it. Make sense? Good. Therefore, if a woman cannot manage to come to the synagogue to listen to the cantor reciting the Megillah, or if they will not be able to hear it well if they came to the synagogue because of the noise making, the groggers, okay. Some says also, I have little kids. You go to shul, I got to stay with the babies. What are you going to do? So this is why in many synagogues and many communities, they have a second Megillah reading to the woman. Or if they don't have it, they must arrange something like that in someone's house, or the husband should take care of his wife, must arrange Megillah reading for her as well. Okay, they must make sure to listen to it at home, chanted by someone who knows how to recite it well. So the question we ask is, someone read the Megillah with blessings, and now he needs to go and read for a woman, or to a second minyan, or a second time, or a third time, and he asks if he needs to do the blessing. He already said the blessing, and the original first minyan. Should he say the blessing over the Megillah again? It's a blessing before and it's a blessing after. A man may recite the Megillah at home on behalf of the woman, even though he already fulfilled his own obligation in the synagogue. Women do not have the obligation that men have to gather, okay, in a large crowd as possible to recite the Megillah in a public forum. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped one. A man may recite the Megillah, at home on behalf of the woman, even though he already fulfilled his own obligation in the synagogue. No, I didn't skip. So, bottom line, he read and he is doing the blessing as well. I thought I was skipping something. When someone recites Megillat Esther at home on behalf of the woman, bottom line, he must also recite the blessings before reciting it, just as men did in the synagogue. Okay? The blessing is Lishmoa Megillah and Al Mikra Megillah and so forth and so on. And you need to say Shechianu and all that. Okay. In case he reads in a place that there is no 10 women, you see, first time you hear about a minyan for women. There has to be 10 women, so he will skip one bracha. If he looks around and he see that there's over 10 women, 10 and up, he will say this bracha. If he see less than 10 women, he won't say this bracha. What bracha is the bracha you say after? If there are less than 10 women present who are listening to the Megillah to fulfill their obligation, no one may recite the blessing of Ha'el Harav et Rivenu. Okay, this is how the bracha called Ha'el Harav et Rivenu. After completing the Megillah, it's a blessing you do after you finish the Megillah. You skip this one if you have less than 10 women. The entire basis for reciting this blessing is a custom, and the custom was established only for a congregation that fulfills the mitzvah of reciting the Megillah Esther altogether. Okay. What if no one knows how to read the Megillah? And they're asking around, say, hey, does anybody know how to read the Megillah? And only one teacher from the school, she teaches Hebrew and she teaches some Judaism. She said, I know how to read the Megillah. They look around, no men can read the Megillah. Only this lady can she read for all the congregation? Okay, some poskim ruled that although women are obligated in the mitzvah of reciting the Megillah, they may not recite it on behalf of men. Others ruled that women may recite it on behalf of men, and the men can fulfill their obligation by listening to a woman reciting it. So it's debatable among the rabbis. Technically, the halacha follows the second opinion, meaning if she is the only one can read, she should read. But it's best to refrain from such a practice unless the situation leaves no other option. Right? Men should not neglect their obligations to learn that. Okay, how to recite the Megillah. What if the woman already fulfilled her obligation? Can she read it the second time for a man? A woman who has already fulfilled the mitzvah of reciting the Megillah may still recite it on behalf of a man. Although Rabbeinu Asher ruled that women do not have the responsibility of seeing to it that others perform the mitzvah to the degree that men have such responsibility. That ruling applies only to mitzvot from which women themselves are exempt. Here the mitzvah, everyone is obligated. And it happens sometimes when a woman goes, for example, to a hospital. There's a group that goes to a hospital to visit the sick, to help them out. And there is a need to read Megillah. So sometimes they read for the sick people in the hospital. Another halacha that related to this topic. Bottom line, with what I said, therefore a woman can recite the Megillah on behalf of a man to enable him to fulfill the mitzvah. If someone listened to a woman recite Megillat Esther, he has fulfilled his obligation, and it's not necessary for him to recite it again. He finishes, and then he says, hey, there's a minyan there, an hour later. You don't need to go. You already fulfilled the mitzvah listening to a woman. Okay? In a tiny community where there is no one who knows how to recite the Megillat Esther correctly, they know, but they don't read it correctly. Except for a woman. Remember the Hebrew teacher? Yeah. I said it for a reason. She knows how to read correctly, right? It is certainly permissible in such case for this woman to chant the Megillah on behalf of the community with its liturgical notes. Furthermore, this does not infringe upon the halacha forbidding a man to listen to a woman singing. This is prayers, people focusing on the prayers anyway. That's not something we are concerned about. So someone asked, Rabbi, listen, can I eat before reading the Megillah or listening to the Megillah? I want to eat. What do you want to eat? I want to eat falafel. I want to eat shawarma. I want to eat cake. I want to drink soda. I want to eat fruit, rice, a whole meal. Tell me, what can I eat? Can he eat? And what? He permitted to eat. The halacha says the following: it is forbidden to eat more than kabetza. Kabetza is like an egg size of bread or cake at night on Purim before one fulfills the mitzvah of reciting the Megillat Esther. Usually what happens, people sit down, they wash their hands, they do a motzi, and then first portion, second portion, main course, they take their time, they drink schnapps a little bit here, a little bit there, especially on Purim, and then 2 hours later they found out they missed the minyan, they missed the tefillah, and they missed the Megillah reading. So the halacha says no eating. What do you need to do? Look at your schedule, go to listen to Megillah reading. Likewise, it is forbidden to eat in the day until after one fulfilled this mitzvah. A woman must wait until her husband returns from the synagogue and reads the Megillah on her behalf before she eats breakfast. Okay? In the evening, you'll see a lot of people coming. Women and men. Why? Because they want to break the fast right after listening to the Megillah. the day we read the Megillah normally and every year is the day we are fasting. It's the Fast of Esther. This year, the Fast of Esther is going to be on Thursday because you can't fast on Shabbat. Right after Shabbat is over, we're going to read the Megillah. This year is unique. Usually it's not like that. It is permissible to eat fruits before fulfilling the mitzvah of Megillah, or to eat less than kabetza, size of an egg, of bread or cake, or to drink tea or coffee. It's okay. The details of this halacha will be explained below. Okay, we'll discuss it later. Sometimes the cantor himself, he needs something to drink because he's going to read for almost an hour and he needs help. But normally what people do, they're very strict about it because this is the best way to go. And secondly, it's not hard. Just hold yourself. The Megillah, average Megillah reading is around 35 to 45 minutes. Average. What about kids? Training children to listen to Megillat Esther. Parents are obligated to train their children to listen to Megillat Esther. But if the child is making so much noises and interrupt and disturb the surrounding, and he's puzzled now. He says, in one hand you're telling me to bring the child, and on the other hand you're making a lot of noise. Should he bring it? Should he not bring it? So it's a very simple rule. Making noise, leave it home. Can sit quiet. Can be even before the age of chinuch. It can be 3 years old, 4 years old. It depends on the child. It could be 7 years old and making a lot of noise. It could be 3 years old and is very quiet. Okay? If you know that your child is quiet, bring him. Okay? It's a mitzvah. It's a great time for him to be and observe the kedusha, the holiness of this day. A child cannot recite Megillat Esther on behalf of others, even if he has reached the age of chinuch. In a situation where there is no adult who knows how to recite the Megillah, however, as a place in America or any other place that there's a Jewish school, they send the children can read Hebrew, the parents don't. Who can read? One of the children. So a child who has reached the age of chinuch, 6 years old and up, 6, 7 years old, can recite it for the congregation, relying on the Rishonim who ruled that such a child can recite the Megillah on behalf of others, and they can fulfill their obligation by listening to him. So people looking at this halacha and saying, 7 years old? Wow, this is rare. And it's not rare at all. Yemenite communities reading the Shabbat, they get the 6th Aliyah every Shabbat when they are around 5.5 years old. I got my first Aliyah when I was before first grade, 5.5. Okay, and it's very common in Yemenite communities. You go to the Mori, we call it Mori, to study when you are 3 years old. They teach you all the letters and how to read. After they train you for 2 years, you know how to read perfectly and how to chant. And then they prepare you for 6 months to get the Aliyah, and you do it on Shabbat in front of all the congregation. When the Kohen gets the first Aliyah and Levi the second and Israel the rest, the 6th Aliyah going to be for the child. I remember as a child they built for us steps, wooden steps, and we climb. We can barely see the little kids. Imagine it's the first graders, you know. If someone is second grade, it's a shame to the family. Ooh, it's embarrassing to the familia. It's crazy, I'm telling you. So it's common in some communities. Okay, question. You're still in shock. Okay. This the next one. It's I don't know if it's halacha. It's more like a warning, and please take it under consideration. Children who are younger than the age of chinuch, 6 years old and less, should not be brought to the synagogue at all for the reciting of the Megillat Esther. Besides the fact that there is no mitzvah at all in training them to listen to the Megillat at this age, the only thing this accomplishes is that the children create a disturbance and bother the older people who are obligated to sit in silence and listen to the reciting of the Megillah. Today, that day is special because people are shooting with these fake guns and making the gargle noises, and other people with costumes. It's a very exciting time. So it's not a normal or regular Shabbat. Okay, those who bring little children to the synagogue will bear the sin of the congregation. Meaning, because of your child making noise, someone missed verses or words from the Chazan, it's on you. But remember what I said. If you know your child is quiet, can sit quietly, then definitely bring him. Therefore, the trustees of the synagogue are obligated to stand guard and see to it that the children do not make any disturbance with the gorgers, the grogers, right? Gorgers. The cap guns and other explosives and noise makers. There is no place for such behavior in a synagogue at any time, and certainly not during the reciting of the Megillah, when the listeners need perfect decorum. Nevertheless, it is possible to bring little children to the synagogue if they are calm and well disciplined. Indeed, like I mentioned, and if you do that, indeed, in this case, it is commendable to bring them, and you are fulfilling a mitzvah. So it depends on the child. You know your own child. Doesn't mean that if your friend's bring is 4 years old, you need to bring him 4 years old. You can bear a sin or get a mitzvah. Be smart and decide accordingly. Can we move on, or we done here?
We are done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. See you next time, Be'ezrat Hashem.
Quick question, Rabbi Shimon.
Yes. Yes.
Rabbi Shimon, quick question.
Yes.
So is the mitzvah to, I guess it's kind of related, but is the mitzvah to just hear the reading, or is it to also understand what is being read? Because the reason I'm asking is because there are some rabbis who go really, really fast to try to get it, with all the people.
If you listen to the Megillah without understanding every word, you still fulfill the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to listen, but it's better to understand like in tefillah. You don't understand all the words, you still fulfill the mitzvah. Better to learn before a little bit what's the Megillah is all about, especially on the English translation or whatever language of your choice. So when the cantor chanted the Megillah, you will be able to understand what he's saying. They do it quickly, so so you have to make efforts to learn Megillat Esther beforehand. Bavakasha, wishing you happy Purim. Bye-bye. And on behalf of Ohev Israel Foundation, I want to thank you for participating in such class. God bless you.